Boom.
Bada boom.
All right.
Bada bing.
Little bit
Okay.
late, but it's setting up. It's still setting up the YouTube meeting. Want to make sure we are live. And
We're live.
there we are. Okay,
Hey,
perfect.
Hey,
We actually see us now. This is the Gross Domesticated Podcast Live. I'm your host. I'm one of your hosts tonight. I'm Pat George. That's me. And there's Chloe also hanging out on the table. What the fuck? I just added a poll question. What the hell is that about? But yeah, we are a little bit late. I apologize about that. But we had some business to attend to. But let's not worry about that. It's Friday.
It's
Dom's
Friday.
here. She's your other host, Dom George.
Dom George.
Wife George herself. Babe, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm asking you to talk a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Vamp. Got it. Doing good.
We got a work call right before this because we have a holiday coming up. Any big plans for the weekend?
No.
Chloe.
What are we? Are we doing anything this weekend?
I don't think so.
I work tomorrow.
I did offer, or I did not, I guess, threaten maybe. I told the landlord, I was like, hey, we're probably gonna start. If I can get that, I might drag that grill out. I don't know though. We've been really enjoying. Why don't you update everybody? I told everybody about it on Wednesday about the air fryer. But why don't you update everyone on some more recipes that you've done? Jesus Christ, Chloe.
She is losing her mind.
Chill the fuck out. That's what she needs to do.
Chill. Right. So yes, air fryer / pressure cooker / slow cooker is incredible.
AKA.
Yeah. So we what was the first thing? Oh, we did the panko shrimp, which came out really good. Mm-hmm. And then after that we did pork ribs. And what I really liked about it was like pressure cooking it. So you pressure cook it for 15 minutes, then you switch the lid, and then you do the air fryer, and we fried it up. Yeah. And I didn't sweat at all.
Yeah, that was your favorite part.
That's the best part of all of it. And then yesterday I made myself breakfast, and I did potatoes, and so I steamed them. Well, pressure cooked them.
So yeah, you did it all in the ninja thingy.
Yeah, so you just.
I kept saying the ninja, like I was like, yeah,
that's. It's called Ninja Foodie.
Right. 6.5 quart. I didn't.
Yeah.
They kept saying, like putting that as like in big bold print, like 6.5 quarts.
It's so big. Yeah.
Is that big?
Yeah,
I was like, is that
big.
a lot?
Yeah.
Is that a lot of quarts?
And you can do like everything. You can bake in it. You could roast a whole chicken.
A whole chicken
you can stick in there.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun. Oh, and we air fried broccoli.
Oh yeah, that was actually honestly so far. So my update on it is I think my favorite thing so far. I loved the ribs. I thought they were good.
Yeah, those came out really good.
I like the shrimp a lot. Obviously, I'm gonna be a fan of that. Mm-hmm. There's no fucking fooling on that one. And then there's also like what was the other thing? You did the potatoes. That looked good.
Oh, they came out good.
The thing I'm most excited about. I was most excited about the shrimp, but that was good. But it was also like, oh wait, like we need to like do a recipe or marinate them or something.
Yes,
like that.
And that was the first thing I ever did. Yeah. So like I just kind of wung it, and we got it that day. So like I read through the instructions, but I didn't really know what I was doing. But I was very happy with the results still. That just you need something like either to make after that I was like, ooh, this would be really good coconut shrimp. We could do this with like coconut like and then make like a mango salsa sauce type thing to go with it or something. But
yeah, I think that's more of the I'm really excited to get the frozen like French fries and like the frying is the element that I'm the most enamored with right now. I wanna know what they like I said, so far my official review of it is what I suspected. It's an adult easy bake oven.
Yeah. The one thing that also, you pointed out
that
I'm
intrigued by the yogurt button. I don't know how this thing makes yogurt. Everything else is hot. It steams.
Well, you have to make
hot.
it hot, and then I'm sure
Ew.
that's. But I think that's like yogurt is like it's like a pasteurized weird thing.
You cook milk.
You cook it and then you put it in the fridge.
Okay.
But that's why it's like, oh, you can also make yogurt, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to make yogurt.
I was so confused by
but
that
sous
yogurt.
vide.
Yeah, the sous vide.
The sous vide, which is like it's the pressure cooker. It's like the steaming thing. So, but that's still a cool thing.
The thing.
But what you brought up that I didn't realize, for some reason, I thought it was quicker. But it was still like
I was explaining
30 minutes to do those ribs. But the plus size, like I'm okay with it being the same amount of time. It's just nice to not fill the whole house with heat in the summertime because we don't have central air.
Right. Or if you want to do stuff there, you could do stuff on the stove, I guess. Like, and you're not standing over that. You're just standing over just the regular stove heat. But it's not really that bad unless they're like.
It still sucks, but it's not as bad as having the oven. And where we're roasting potatoes, it's like 400 degrees.
And you don't feel as shitty about well, the frying stuff is one thing, but you don't feel like it doesn't feel like you're cooking. You said like it's like a microwave.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not like you're cooking
use a
all your meals
tablespoon of oil. You put that at the bottom, and then the air fryer kind of I think like pulls from that little bit of oil that makes everything crispy.
Yeah.
So I think it is a healthier version. Like there's still oil in there, but you're not coating it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a thing where I think it's almost like the George Foreman grill. I thought about this after the fact. It's like the George Foreman grill where it's like it's the healthy part of it is the fact that you're able to like it like takes the oil, like the shit drips off.
Right. It's not sitting in it.
I think that's what they have on the box, right? It says the shit drips down.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's one of the appeals.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
and it's easy to clean. I was nervous it was gonna be
splattery.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be.
I mean,
more
it might.
like,
well, I mean, we'll see what else.
We haven't gotten into it yet. I'll tell you what. But it's not. It's more. It's less like a crock pot and more.
Yeah.
Like you said, like a microwave, but except for the fact that you have to clean the inside every time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that wears down, and I'm sure that ends up being something that is kind of a pain in the ass later on. But in the meantime, like the steaming thing you can do, the
steaming, roasting, baking.
I still don't buy it being a fryer. I don't see it as a fryer. It's a crisper, the air crisp.
Yeah.
It's an air crisper, not an air fryer. It's a harder bake oven. That's what it is. It's a more difficult bake oven.
Okay.
And hey, I'm here for it. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Happy wife, hungry
happy
husband.
life.
You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. But we've eaten a lot of. I'm excited to try like some of our regular. We've already done the pork marinade shit that we like to eat, the spicier pork. And if you want to talk about spicy pork, you can always call on the show. You can call in live anytime you want. Or you can leave us a voicemail. If you have recipes for us to try in the air fryer,
talking to you, Karen.
Pound off either in the chat or call or text this number 717-559-2971. Save it in your phone. GDP hotline. Call it, text it, voicemail us, do whatever you want. Or you can email the show at babymermaidproductions@gmail.com. And you can let us know recipes you want us to try if we're not utilizing it the correct way. But the yogurt button is so intriguing to me.
We could try it
because I think of yogurt as a cool treat.
Yeah,
much like ice cream. So I'm thinking,
but even ice cream. There's some ice cream that people make. They will heat up the heavy cream. And like that ingredients and then chill it. So like. I've seen that where they like heat up the eggs and they heat up stuff.
Hell yeah.
So
Casey says Casey's in the chat. Shout out to Casey Nicholson.
Yeah.
Out there. She says air crisper is life. I love that oven.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Honestly,
it's like
what's your go-to? Because that's my thing is like because after a while, it so much reminds me of the George Foreman grill. It reminds me of like my go-to. I would always get to my go-to recipes. I would have like
It's a
these chicken
tool.
patties. Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
like
literally.
it's okay. I'm gonna make this type of thing. This is a tool I'm gonna
Yeah,
use.
yeah.
So it's the same idea.
And Ron's waving. Hey, Ron, how you doing? We got
Hello.
OG Ron in the chat. That's Ron Kane. Shout out to local legend in the comedy scene, Ronald Kane. I don't know if that's his name really, but Ron is always short for Ronald, right?
No, not just like Judy is not always Judith.
Well, but it's not always. It's not like what else would it be?
Just Judy. Well, like,
but it's not anything else besides those two. Like Ron is, I guess it could always just be Ron.
It's either Ron or Ronald.
But it's that's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, I guess Ronaldo, but that's just Spanish.
Maybe.
Spanish Ronald.
Yeah.
Ooh, can I call you Spanish Ronald now? He's definitely not Spanish. Fun night at the Comedy Zone, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to again Casey and.
So
Ron,
it's supposed to be off today, but the world exploded. So I went in for a couple of hours and I was on bar and then I just got the worst headache. It was like right in front. And I was like, I don't know where this came from. And they were like, well, you haven't had coffee yet. And I was like, well, I've had a couple of sips. Like,
yeah,
I didn't drink a whole cup of coffee yet. And then somebody was like, oh, you could be dehydrated. And I was like, that's probably what it is. And then I was like, oh, I had 2 margaritas last night. And everyone's like, you had 2 margaritas. I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's what this is. I was like, that has been a long time since I've had liquor.
Yeah.
And
we're not big liquor people.
But for what, I don't know. I was feeling saucy. I think everybody was feeling like last night was a lot of fun. Everyone
loose.
Everyone stayed the whole time.
Yeah.
And there was 35 comics or 36 comics?
I think 33 or 34 was like the actual official like count, but I'm sure there's probably a couple added. But good. It was a good mix. We had a good, you had your first timers.
Yeah. But they did good. I think the first timers did pretty good.
This is a connection that I actually am writing down as I'm saying it. Is I feel like open mics like are much like jujitsu. You have like you need the lower belts in a way.
Oh yeah.
To boost the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like,
I was just listening to a podcast. Wait, was it a podcast? Yeah. We were listening to your mom's house, and they were like, you have to have ugly to have beautiful.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You have to have people that suck, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like just either the first time inexperienced, whatever, and then you have the people that have been doing this for a long time that have the experience, so you can kind of see the range. But those white belts
all right, so
make the black belts, purple belts, brown belts look good.
Well, that's the thing is like Jeff has been saying that about like about his gym, like the success is based on like our white belts, like
yes, 100%.
As successful as our white belts are, that's how you know the success of the higher belts.
Yep.
Is the fact that like you have quality white belts, then you know that the higher belts are more resemble that kind of discipline.
Right.
So
because
like it's the same thing of like open
people
micers
look up to you. Like
right.
They
kind of they're the exciting part, like because we're like a lot of people that are higher belts are like tired. A lot of the things is in blue belt, the stigma
at
is,
work we call them burnt beans.
Yeah.
And then
you're burnt out, right?
Our new people are the green beans.
Right. Perfect. Exactly. You have burnt out people, and then you have brand new people.
Yeah.
And the new people bring that like the freshness kind of into it, and to say like, oh, like
I remember when we were excited.
They're still able to bring people out to open mics, which is great. They have friends that have not been ruined by open mics yet. So us people that us higher belts, they're sitting there like, oh, good, there's a crowd. Holy shit. Yeah. All right, try to be good. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. It's the more hyped these other people are, the white belts or anything like that, you're like, oh shit, you're gonna be a good training partner because you're going to show up on a regular basis. You're going to be like eating right and exercising and shit. So you're going to be a good, and then something also like moldable, you know what I mean? A lot of times. But Ron does clarify a little bit here. He says, no, Ron is short for Ronald. So, okay. Ronald Kane, Sir Ronald of Kane. Wonderful to see him as well as Casey last night live in person. We saw real people again. It's happening on a regular basis, and I'm trying not to get used to it because God only knows what.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this still the new normal? Is this a newer normal? Is this
I
another one? Is this new normal 0.0, 2.0?
Yeah, because I think no matter what, we're never going to go back to where we were because too much trauma has
I go halfway.
happened.
I go like what where I'm sitting there in a mask, but I'm hugging people, and it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like I don't know, man. Like, and I even
You can
told
go
people.
no mask.
I even told people
Today I am officially fully vaccinated because the official is 2
it's all
weeks.
taken.
It's 2 weeks after your second shot is when you're considered actually fully vaccinated. So as of today, I am fully vaccinated.
Wonderful. This is
Mhm.
Mazel Tov. Wonderful
Mazel tov.
for you.
Congrats.
I am
I'm
I am
excited.
also that, but I even told people that there's a weird thing where like I'm aware that it's a security blanket for me. Like
Yeah.
to me it's like I still don't like breathing all of you people in. So and it's not
Well, and a lot of people have talked about how they haven't gotten sick at all. So that like
I'm
it
nervous about
is-
that. Like the first real big sick of not like I had that sinus infection during the lockdown, but that's pretty much it. Aside from allergies here and there,
Yeah.
I didn't really get sick. So I'm nervous about the first sick back.
Yeah.
You know.
But you or I don't really get sick that often. Every once in a while, but with everyone wearing masks. So I know that that was like a topic at work too, because they're saying probably by the middle to end of July, we as workers won't have to wear them.
Yeah.
We're not enforcing it for customers, but we are still wearing them.
Yeah. Bless you.
Thank you. I burped. I mean, I guess you can bless me for that.
You can have some non-carbonated water.
So they were like, okay, well, what if we still want to? And we're like, yeah, we're gonna like we want everyone to be comfortable. So if you would be more comfortable wearing one while working, that's not an issue.
Right.
But where was I going with that?
About masks?
Oh, but then like in the wintertime and like when it's flu season, I've heard people say like, I'm gonna wear a mask.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've seen such a big difference in just normal colds and regular flus and stuff.
Yeah.
That a lot of people didn't.
Ron says the fall and winter will suck. That's where it's gonna start all catching up to us.
Yeah.
I still think, I mean, if it's not, I think you're right too, to say like, why not like just to have this for travel? I think it's going to be really good. And
I've heard that too. Like people are still going to do it just traveling.
And as long as people don't as long as there's no, I feel like there's going to be a weird thing. And I'm just picturing it happening in the South. I don't know why. It's just where my mind goes, but it's where I'm at right now. I'm saying like there's going to start being signs put up that say you're not allowed to wear a mask in here. Like at certain stores and stuff, they're going to be like,
why do you think that?
I don't know. I feel like it's something's coming up. Like we're like, you can't mask, like how you're not allowed to bring backpacks into certain stores and stuff,
Yeah.
You're like, they're like, hey, can you not wear your mask in here because
I don't think so. I think now
if you're stealing.
I think now it's gonna be a way of life.
Oh,
like it is in Asia.
So this actually brings me to one of the topics that I brought up, that I have here actually that I still what topics that I had to bring up.
Okay.
It's emotion, not motion, emotion detection in AI. Yeah. So get this. There's AI emotion detection software tested in Uruguay. I don't know. Is that what that is? UYGHURS.
Uyghurs?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's from BBC.com, so maybe it's a town there, in BBC town. But it's just the topic that really interests me. A camera system that uses AI and facial recognition intended to reveal states of emotion has been tested. Oh, maybe it's in China. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't pronounce any of those. So a software engineer claimed to the link for the story will be in the description of this afterwards, as well as the audio only version. By the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the audio only feed, please subscribe to that. It's awesome. I got the links also in all of the past descriptions. You're gonna love it. Audio only. If you like watching the show, oh my god, listening to it, you're gonna be like, what?
Even better.
Holy shit, that's where the talent is. Why am I looking at these fools? You know what I mean? Mostly, sometimes it's just me. By the way, there's updates on that as well. We had the fan vote for what days we want to do it, and we're finding out still scheduling conflicts. So we may have a solution to this with more guests and more consistency, which is always key here at GDP.
Consistency is key.
But in the meantime, this is very interesting to me because I wonder how facial recognition software will work if you still have the mask on. If it's your emotion, that's all brows, baby.
Yeah,
what
it's
I mean?
mainly in the
That's
eyes.
a lot of this.
I mean, your mouth too.
Right. Like what I'm always kind of like, I always have resting dickhead face, resting bitch face. You know what I mean? Like that. But it's also like, that's also my thinking face. And it's also my sad face. It's also my hungry face. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. So a software engineer claimed to have installed such systems in police stations in the province. I believe it's in China, but I honestly don't know how to spell that or how to pronounce that. XINIJANG. All respect to China. I don't want anybody to John Cena me. Everything's a country. Everything's a country. Everything's great. A software engineer claimed to have installed such systems in police stations in the province. A human rights advocate who was shown the evidence described it as shocking. So that's good. The Chinese embassy in London. So okay, I'm assuming maybe the U one is somewhere in London, and the other one was in China.
Yeah.
China. Okay.
China.
The Chinese embassy in London has not responded directly to the claims, but says political and social rights in all ethnic groups are guaranteed. I don't know what does that mean. Blah, blah, blah. Ta-ta. So citizens in the province are under daily surveillance. The area is also home to highly controversial re-education centers. That's not good.
What is re-education?
What is going on right now? What's happening in the world? I mean, I know that's, that happens anyway, but it's called re-education centered called high security detention camps by human rights groups, where it is estimated that more than 1 million people have been held. Holy fuck. Beijing has always argued that surveillance is necessary in the region because it says separatists who want to set up their own state have killed hundreds of people in terror attacks. This sounds like The Man in the High Castle, right? I mean, I guess it's Beijing. It's not Japan.
Yeah.
Again, all due respect to Japan
Careful.
and Beijing. You're both great. Everybody's great. Please don't hurt us. I'm just saying that's from my experience from the show. I'm not even saying from anything else. I think about that show. I still on like a daily basis of like, man, can you imagine like that? That's crazy. The outcome. It's just a hypothetical. It's like a multiverse from what it's shaping up to be. It's like a multiverse thing. It's more of a time travel thing than a history thing, but it's still like, because it's not a reality. It's a hypothetical. If these countries took over, this is how it would be.
Yeah.
And it's obviously like heightened, like the first season when they're like, oh, is it snowing here? And they're like, no, that's just all the people that are in wheelchairs and like the retarded people that were burning in fucking stacks over here. And it's like, what is that for real? And you're like, did Nazis really do that? Nazis did that shit? And then like, oh my god! And then the whole storyline after that. It's a good show. It is. It's not my favorite. It's not great. I don't think it's a great show. I think it's a good show.
Yeah, it's
seems like it's so strange because there's cursing and violence and like all that shit, but it seems like a network drama. It really does.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's soap opera-y.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like an HBO show. It's not that raunchy. Like there's not titties and everything.
Yeah.
Right? Is there titties? I don't think there's titties ever.
No. But there's not a lot of sex. It's a lot of survival. Like there is sex. There is.
I like that. That should be a tagline for the show. not a lot of sex, but there's a lot of survival.
There's it's more about like that's kind of not an afterthought, but you got bigger fish to fry. Like people are dying. You don't know who to trust. That's the other thing is like who do you have sex with? Because you're like, do I trust you? I don't know. Are we on the same side? I thought we were, but I don't know.
Yeah, just not even on a regular personal level, but like as far as this like in means of the state, are you? It's just it turned. You know what it is that show turned into like a spy drama.
Yes,
and I don't fucking
You're
like
not a
spy
huge
dramas,
and I'm not
it's
either.
So fucking boring.
But because it's so original, like it's a storyline. I mean, Nazis and the Nazi war, and then
the Nazi war,
and then like
the World War IIs.
Right. So like it's based on actual hit. Well, I guess that's not that it's based. It's
rooted in history.
It's rooted in history, but it's obviously completely.
There's like a real life guy that they said like, hey, there's that guy Hitler. He's in charge, and they're like, whoa, and then they're like, but now, like spoiler alert, Hitler's not always the leader.
And the way they like divide up the United States of like this is Japan, this is
it's like there's the Reich side, and there's the Reich portion that's like where does it like all the middle part is like all the way like Denver down or something like that, right?
And that's like neutral zone, so nobody owns that. That's just kind of
still kind of just America.
It's essentially it's just America, but it's not. It's just nobody's claimed it. And then you have the West Coast is Japan. And then the East Coast is the Reich.
So it's basically I think about that show a lot of times and thinking like I can't imagine like people that dynamic of something like this where they're just like, oh yeah, no, where you live, like because we don't want you to change things, like so that's the thing. That's the scary thing about and again, well, all due respect, hey guys, we're everyone's fine, but that's the scary thing about that is the fact that you have like them saying like, if you want to change, like here you go, like, oh, you want to change things, you can have the right to vote, blah blah blah, you have the right to do this, you have the right to say, I don't like this thing, I want something different. And like even the right to say that is and that's the thing of anytime there is censorship, I think that's why I'm nervous about it, because I think of like stuff like that. I see people living like that. And it's not because the tables have turned and now there's something like that. The fact that anybody lives like that, or has lived like that, is crazy. That they're saying we need to watch everybody and bug everybody like it's a fucking spy drama. Because it's necessary in case you say anything negative about the place you live. And it's like, damn, I can't even just feel like I don't like it here. I don't even have the right to just feel like that. Is when it gets unbelievable to me. And that's like, I'm because
and that
I'm
is real life,
because I am privileged, and I will fucking totally acknowledge that, of saying like, in that sense, anytime I have pride in the place I live, it's the pride of the fact that like, holy shit, I have been able to avoid that feeling. Even oppressed people here, I don't think feel oppressed. Like there's like safe places, but like even in the Nazi side, everybody's house is bugged. Everybody's listening to everyone. Everyone's
and I think that's the point is like nobody trusts anybody. Like you don't know who to trust.
Which is like that is like I guess I also didn't realize how separated from religion the Nazis were and stuff like that. Both religions really, or both sides. The Japanese side of them, they're like it's all for again for like the state, for the country, for
it's like actually that's true.
You know what I mean? Like it's not, and so
it wasn't based in religion, because that was something else. What's the other show that we're watching?
You're watching The Mayor of Easttown. Well, again, you're in charge.
No,
remember?
the other one.
What are we watching?
What was the other one? And I was like, that's scary because it's based on religion.
Oh, is that the you watched The Handmaid's Tale?
No, I've watched it, but I'm not watching it.
Based on religion.
He said like the reason why he was doing the killings or whatever
was
000.
000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was the
he feels justified in his
right,
religion,
and it's like that is the hardest thing to combat.
He said, Ron, this is that's a great point. It's amazing how much science fiction has turned into reality.
Yeah,
like it's the fact that you have, again, Big Brother, you have like stuff like that. Everybody's watching everybody.
Yeah.
Even in a what if,
because it's fascinating.
Yeah,
like it is, but there is that like level of privacy, and then also you're allowed to feel however the fuck you want to feel.
Yeah, at least in America, you have the right to say, fuck you.
Yeah.
I feel different than you.
Yeah.
You have that right.
Not that gives you the right to like violence or anything.
It may not actually do anything. Yeah.
Right.
If it like, or even at some cases, you may get arrested for assault. But I don't know. Actually, then is that? Or I guess yes. You're not oftentimes. You see a lot of times the protests here where they're like, cops are standing right here and they're in their face and they're going, "Fuck yeah!" And they're just like shouting at them, and the cops are just like,
yeah.
And like, not that they're always just standing there, but for the most part, you don't really see that a ton. You see them either pushing them back in other, you know what I mean? So, it's the comparison of that. It is a what if. It's not as, I don't think it hits home as much, like as far as like being reality or not, because of the fact that like it is a science fiction show.
Yeah, because it's
still a what if.
There's like alternate universe, like you said, like there's something in there. And we don't quite know what it is yet.
Yeah, and it's not that, it's again,
and people can like
now there's like
they just like disappear, like they can just go into another.
Everybody's looping, you know what I mean? Like
there's
loopers.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and honestly, that's not even really a spoiler because I don't even know how to explain it.
No,
but there's definitely
because it shows the actual history of. I
mean, you're that's no spoiler because like to say like it's rooted, it's a alternate reality thing is like kind of crazy because the show is about the Nazis controlling, you know, like
but then it shows what
their armbands are weird too. Like the American, it took me till like season 2, I think, until I realized like American Nazi.
Oh yes, it is different.
People were like that that still had the Nazi thing here in the middle, and then half of it was just solid red. The other half was like stripes, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
so he's just like a different rank, or is this like a new? I thought maybe, you know, honestly, my first thought was like, do they not have the copyright?
That's what he copyright.
It's like there was like copyright. Who would own the copyright to the swastika? What bold, stupid, crazy, ignorant what it is or brilliant?
Because it's kind of like your second class. The Reich is kind of like the second class to actually like Germany Nazis, because obviously they're the ones that started and then they took over. So then it was the people like the Americans that were like, yeah, I can I'll go along with this, or I'm in agreement with this ideology, like whatever. They're almost converted.
Yeah, they're converted. Well, and that's the thing is like a lot of the soldiers, the Nazi soldiers in America are like, they were American soldiers that were like, well, now you're not.
Right, they're taking over, so they're like, okay, well, this is our new reality. Okay. And then the people that were like, no, I don't want to do this, they're either killed or they go into the neutral zone, which the neutral zone is like, it's
neutral zone,
which is actually what's really funny actually is the neutral zone is America, because that's what it is people that have fled their homes because of invasions of other countries. Mm-hmm. And it's the immigrants, like it's because it's just a melting pot of people, because it's people from all over the United States, it's people that are from Japan, it's people that are from the Reich, like it's a whole melting pot, and they don't have much because they've fled, they've left their belongings, and everyone's just surviving, and it's very gray.
Yeah,
and I think it's because of the nuclear wars that happened that if it's like the part that's like destroyed because
So
it's not nice.
so one and only one aspect of this reality would I ever want to be transferred over into our reality, and that would be how hard it is to buy a Bible.
Yeah.
Like if there was that, if we could just push all those like, yeah, look, man, I'm not saying like we need to like burn, like, I mean, if you want to burn some Bibles, go for it. You know what I mean? But like, it's definitely not the number one seller in this reality. I like it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's a really valid point that I didn't even think about. That
yeah,
it's not really based on
if we could
religion.
focus
It's
it,
an ideology, but it's not a religious one.
if we take it from, so like to be completely transparent, to say like if you were to take the focus off of all of religion and you just focus it back on the people, not the state, not the country, not the powers that be, or the ultimate race or anything like that, nothing to that. If you did put it back into the country though, into the people, and take pride in that, like that's great. It's not in a nationalistic way, not replacing religion with your country, but like putting that because you see, even in the hypothetical of that, like, okay, everybody's surveilled, so like, but I don't know if you can say like that's the reason your state or your setup is fucking phenomenal, is because you spy on everyone. That's not the reason you have the success. It's everyone buying into what you're saying.
Your values are like, this is what
you're doing. A lot of ugly, bad, terrible shit, but then there's a lot of like good, but you're telling everybody like, no, we're not doing terrible, bad shit. We're doing good shit because we love you and we love the country. And everybody's like, yeah, me too. I love this country too. And honestly, I feel safe. So whatever you're doing, I'm not even going to look at it. And it's like, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. And you're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But that, I feel like that has to happen. Like there has to be
need
like
a level of blindness
because there is a level of we have to do this thing for the greater good. Like it's not a good thing. We don't want people to die.
No,
we don't want to do this, but
we don't want to burn up any mentally challenged and or gimped people in any way. No. If you have,
I'm talking in fibrosis, reality. I'm saying in reality.
And me too. Like... Hey, me too. I'm talking about that in reality too. I actually don't want to burn anybody. Tell you the truth, just animals.
But like, I know there was things that like, oh, I don't know, but like the president and the government, and they're like they
both
keep
of
things.
Them?
Yeah,
the president and the government,
all of it. They make decisions that a lot of people probably wouldn't be happy with, but you have to do it.
Sometimes you gotta kill some people. Sometimes you gotta eat the dick, and sometimes the dick eats you.
And I don't need to know all of that because you just feel bad. And I guess ignorance is bliss, and then that's privilege. Literally. Ignorance is privilege.
That's why. Okay, so a lot of times I go yes, if you are able to be ignorant to actual concerns, but also like find power in powerlessness. Yeah. If you feel depressed, dig in. You know what I mean? Like just kind of go like, it's one of those things of like, oh, I can vote to change it. I don't know at this point. I don't know if voting, if only voting, and I'm not saying only, and I'm not advocating anything else. I'm just saying of like, I think just being aware of it, I think by the time we're aware of what we are aware of, I think it's too far.
Probably. You know what I mean? And most
kind of like the UFO thing. Like at the point where I was already convinced that there was UFOs.
Yeah.
And now the government's like, hey, by the way, there's UFOs. I'm like, yeah, I thought that, but also not like, okay, so are you just trying to, do you know something else that you're just not telling us?
Yeah.
And let's give them this because there's this. So we got to figure out.
But do you think if they were to say there are aliens, like we know for a fact there's other life forms, and they're not, I don't know what the reasoning behind keeping it a secret. I would assume like maybe
because
panic, mass hysteria.
Yeah, like to say, but like, I think that's why they're like, now they're like, look, there are
aliens. There are other things. Here are our concerns, or we're concerned because of this. We're not concerned because of this. Do you think as a human race, we would come together a little bit more, because now
Mm,
we're equal because we're humans.
yeah.
But there's there's other stuff out there. Like, we should probably get our shit together and be cool here, because now they're telling us there is, like, we've thought there's.
It's becoming an episode. It's becoming the Watchmen, the series. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give away too much of that, I guess.
That's such a good show. And that was, you said that was done. That was it. That was
I
the
think
only
so.
season.
Yeah. I think they don't have anything else planned. Like, they don't have
That's
any.
unfortunate, because that was such. I mean, I loved the movie.
But,
I did like the movie.
But think
that
about
show
where
is
it's
so
at.
good.
Think about where we're going right now. Like, think about the
Yeah.
Rorschach masks, like rogue
Yeah.
white supremacists.
When we were watching that show, I was like, this is real.
Yeah.
Like, this is happening now.
it's going that way. And then the thing that brought everybody together, remember?
Yeah.
Like, all of this other shit, like, where you're like, man. So it kind of seems like eventually, either at this point, I think if like there was like a spaceship landing or aliens like coming out or contact,
I think it's to like District 9.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the most realistic, in my opinion, science fiction movie I feel of all time.
It's a good movie.
It seems like it's most likely to happen of like, oh shit, aliens came here and just kind of broke down.
Yeah.
And then we just treat them like shit immigrants for the longest time. And then people have, so long that like there's committees and companies dedicated to humanely, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, to manage a whole species, a brand new species, and not be amazed by it. Like, there's never,
not be in awe. You're just like, this is different.
That's what I feel like bad. they're ramping us. It feels like everybody's like, oh, we're going towards Idiocracy. I think we're going towards District 9, where there's going to be neighborhoods and groups of people that are just oblivious to it, or just like, oh, those aliens, like, ugh. Like, I think it was meant to be what it was meant to be a commentary on the fuck, what is it? I was gonna say Aboriginal. Is it Aboriginal there?
Not in Africa. That's in isn't that
it's in South, it's in
that's in South Africa.
Apartheid? Is there something with that?
I'm not sure. Aborigine, I think, is Australian.
You're right.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so it's again, my South Africa and Australia. There's a pipeline there in my head that's just like, Pat, you're gonna confuse both of those things for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but I don't know what the native people are.
I think there is a situation like that of like there being native people there, and then the intruding people.
Right.
Blah,
right.
Blah, 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 blah. So it's like it was meant to be a commentary on that.
Yeah.
The blah blah blah
but literally
blah part
aliens,
that I don't know.
Like,
about.
Because that's what in America we call. I don't know if that's everywhere. But that's what we call
right now
immigrants. And that was actually something that we a thing that I just did for work, and we talked a lot about immigrants and like migration stories and what that looks like. And they I was on a conference call and talking to people that have actually migrated from other countries in their process, and they talked about like the verbiage of alien and how like derogatory that is.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it that way, and I'm just like, yeah, that just sounds so like bad, like you're an alien. And
then also to call you illegal, like to call a person illegal.
Yeah.
It's like, I always thought that.
So
was
now
like
there's just like, you're documented or undocumented. Like, that's the verbiage that is that people are trying to redirect. Instead of saying illegal, alien, it's just documented, undocumented. Like, that's it.
Well, I mean, I think if anything, like, you have a with I almost said it, with undocumented people here, there is an alien. There's got to be an alien element to it. Like, that's I don't think that.
Well, it make the
concept
meant to be,
that wasn't meant to be. I can see that being.
Yes.
I think the illegal one is like, it seems like people that are motivated by something else made up that like thing to say to label them
Yeah.
like
It's just a bad label because like when
it's
you
like
think
unclean
about
or like you're
yeah,
unpure. You're not
right,
supposed to
right,
be
right,
here.
right.
Just don't do the voice.
But they call them migrants. And I'm like, that just feels better. And that is exactly what they're doing. They're migrating.
Yeah.
Like they're leaving a bad situation to try to find better for themselves, better for their family. Like they're migration, like they're
Right.
migrating. So it's a migrant, which I just think sounds better, especially than immigrant. And that I don't even think is, I could be wrong. I don't think that's a negative term.
Yeah.
But it does sound, I was just like, yeah, I think migrant sounds a lot better. It doesn't sound so, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with illegal alien, just until we make the movie, and then after that, then I'll learn from it, or I have to learn. That's how movies are, you know. I'm terrible at the beginning, and then I learn my lesson
Gotcha.
because I'm always the villain. Remember,
Uh-huh.
that's how it's supposed to be. So okay, let me continue this.
So Ron says just don't
Do
a voice.
Yeah,
What voice?
like of an illegal immigrant, maybe, or maybe a South African.
South African.
South African. The software engineer agreed to talk to BBC's Panorama program under condition of anonymity. So I nailed that one.
Ooh, good
Second
job.
try. Second try. I did that one. Because his fears for his safety. That's what I'm saying. Is like they're. And by the way, if they know who he is already, like there's if you're talking to the media or anything like that, like I'm assuming the worst, like for that person. They're not going to make it.
Okay.
Like that, I think they already like he's saying, "Oh, I want anonymity." Like you're talking to the BBC, somebody's going to find out.
Okay.
I just I'm worried for this person. The company he worked for is also not being revealed. Okay, but he showed 5 photographs of detainees who he claimed had the emotion recognition system tested on them. The quote, the Chinese government uses what the place. It's okay, so it's UYGHURS. If anybody can phonetically type how that might be pronounced, please help me out here. But it's URS as test subjects for various experiments, just like rats are used in laboratories, he said. Uh, and he outlined his role in installing the cameras in the police stations in the province. We placed the emotion detection camera 3 millimeters from the subject it is similar to a lie detector, but far more advanced technology. He said officers used restraint chairs. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying. It's like, they're like, this is not just, this is restraining somebody and making them to like
to have an emotion, to be able to capture it so that they can. Yeah, that's.
He said officers use restraint chairs, quote, which are widely installed in police stations across China. Your wrist. Well, I think they have restraints in a lot of places. Like they have that in a lot of hospitals.
Yeah. That makes sense, because if you have somebody that's out of their mind and they need to be, because you're protecting them and you're protecting people around them.
Yeah, that's not like a communist fucking.
But I guess my thing. I guess maybe they just take advantage of the situation in the sense of like, hey,
if it's like protocol for every detainee, then yes, then that's the problem. But the fact that they have restraint chairs in every police station, they have restraint chairs in a lot of places.
Right.
Technically, a high chair is a restraint chair.
Can you spell that city or whatever again for me?
It is hold on. UL. Oh wait, hold on. UY. GHURS. Definitely spelled that wrong.
You know what's really weird is I just typed in UYJ and it had the rest of the word.
UYJ or G?
G. I mean, I meant G.
I was like, oh, like a migrant. Okay, yeah. Don't do a voice like a migrant.
Looking at how to pronounce the name of this Turkic-speaking minority ethnic group originating from and culturally affiliated with the regional region of Central and East Asia.
Oh.
We are looking at how to pronounce Uyghur people.
Okay.
Uyghur.
Thank you very much, babe.
No problem.
Uyghur.
Okay, and then what was the
Fred Durst? It's a Uyghur.
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 And then what was the other one? The X.
What?
The other town.
Oh yeah, that's XI. Hold on, that was XINJIAANG.
JIANG.
Nailed it. Surprised I didn't autocorrect that one. Xinjiang. Okay.
Xinjiang.
To be honest with you, it was not going to be
Shin. I knew it was Shin because I have a customer that mobile orders, and then she says it. And then we say that again. She says it starts with an X, and we're like, oh yeah. So I knew it was like Shin, but I didn't know the
Nailed
rest. Xinjiang. Okay.
But Uyghurs. Okay.
Uyghurs.
All right. So. All right.
Sorry.
So no, it's okay. Your wrists are locked in place by metal restraints, and the same applies to your ankles. Duh. It's like an electric chair. Classic electric chair. You ever seen what was it?
Green Mile.
Green Mile. You know, it's not leather. They're metal in this case. He provided evidence on how the AI system is trained to detect and analyze even minute changes in facial expressions and skin pores. God damn. According to his claims, the software creates a pie chart delicious, and the red segment representing a negative or anxious state of mind. He claimed the software was intended, for prejudgment without any credible evidence.
Yeah, this is not good.
This is not good.
And think about it so if you have somebody
this is not good.
that has committed a crime.
This is not good.
No. If you have somebody that's committed a crime that is actually like insane, or you know what I mean? Like if they can go in and say and really can lie and
like
have zero emotional attachment to the crime that they committed.
Like the Joker.
But like I guess, is this in replacement of a lie detector? They think this is going to be more accurate.
Can it read through clown makeup? Can you read the pores through clown makeup? Is that a loophole? This is something that I'm asking you, China.
Yeah, I don't like this at all.
Uyghurs, okay? The Chinese embassy in London did not respond to the questions about the use of the emotional recognition software in the province, but said the political, economic, and social rights and freedom of religious belief in the that's another thing, is the religious thing. Is they're watching you and they're like, you better not have feelings about where you live, and you better not be fucking praying. I don't agree with that. I think you should be allowed to pray.
But I guess my thing is if 100%
I think you should be allowed to buy a Bible, but I think it should be hard.
100% this is not okay at all. But if you're using it in that sense of like, I can't even have a feeling about my government, this is completely unethical. If you're going to replace it if you're replacing it with a lie detector test, I could see where you could say this is going to be more accurate and this is harder to cheat,
but not for
but it's still not.
Not if they're saying
right. If it's a prejudgment, no.
Like, you're about to do something illegal.
No, like, that is not okay.
I was not going to do something illegal. Yeah, you were. Look at the pie chart.
Yeah,
look,
you're real anxious.
Look at the red. Why so anxious, buddy? Huh?
So I mean, like, I think this is unethical in all aspects, but especially if it's going to be in a sense of like you don't like the government.
There's a lot more.
We
to
can
this article.
tell.
I don't know if I'm going to read all this.
I think
I think I've read enough.
Yeah,
I think I've read just about enough. Once I start hearing about your pores, and this is the privilege. And honestly, I'm just going to soak up the last couple drops of it because I don't know if we're going to have it for a lot longer.
Yeah, I think we just
because I am technically broadcasting on a Chinese software. Again, that's what I'm saying. Everything's great in China. You're great. Everything's good. Facial recognition. Look, how my pores look. Maybe they're using it on us. But like all you're going to get is just a big red pizza pie. It's just all anxious, buddy. I'm just a big bowl of anxious. So if that's what you want, that's fine. But
you'll get it.
It's terrifying to think that, because I mean, it just goes into, obviously it's Orwellian. It's terrifying. Like already the facial recognition thing was a concern, but now if they're like, it's not even necessarily, here's an example of the pie chart. They have it in the thing. Data from the system purports to indicate a person's state of mind, with the red suggesting a negative or anxious state of mind. So negative or anxious. What is it? Negative or anxious. So it's not even
Right. And if
you could
like
just be anxious
right,
about the cops saying,
I'm in the police station. I'm anxious. Whether I committed, if I know
they
100%,
took me to the pre-judgment room.
I did. Yeah. I know
very
100%
anxious.
I did not kill this person or commit this crime. I'm still nervous as fuck to be here.
Yeah, they've taken me to the pre-judgment room to hook me up to their fucking what do they call them in Scientology? The
Yep.
superpower readers.
I'm watching that right now.
Clarity
They're
readers?
cans. Those are called the cans, but I forget what it's like, something meter.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean we're hitting
And
fucking.
I know that you've said this in the past, but like the parallels to Jehovah's Witnesses and Scientology is crazy. The only difference is the abuse. Not that physical abuse doesn't happen, but the way that Scientology,
It's just a different form. It's the manipulation.
It
The fact that
and they had
only
somebody
men
that
are allowed-
defined what a cult is.
yeah,
And everything it checks off every single box. And the fact that they said you can't one of the things is you're not allowed to look up Scientology in
yeah.
to see what people are saying about them. And I remember that conversation of somebody telling me, and it might have even been my mom, was don't look it up because it's just negative. People just don't understand. It's just all negative stuff. And
To me, everybody else must be wrong. Every other person must be wrong.
Right. It completely makes sense because I'm because
it's a negative thing to do, that religion.
Right. And then the disassociation, once this person is labeled this, you cannot speak to them anymore.
Right.
Which that happens with Jehovah's Witnesses as well.
You can't do everything 100%. You can't do you can't do anything in your life. You can't be all one thing, because if you put all of your eggs in one basket, you're going to be fucked, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you say, because that's like you said, it's just the fact that when I was learning about the religion more and more, I'm the more my bullshit meter went off.
Right.
The more my thing with anytime I would be, somebody was trying to sell me something, and that's what I'm saying is
but
they're
it just
bad
makes
salesmen.
Well, yes and no. They're really good because they have, they have congregations. They're
What
pretty
they
good.
are? Honestly, what it is the fact that is what the only difference. Jehovah's Witnesses are, I think Jehovah's Witnesses, if they had Scientology money, they would love Scientology money, because I think they would implement a lot of the same things.
Well, and that's the other thing,
If
is that's the difference is there's no
they're
money.
They're grassroots Scientologists.
There is no money exchange with Jehovah's Witnesses. It is strictly donations. They do not ask.
Right.
I mean, they'll say hey, there's a donation box out there. Don't they bring it up, but it's not like tithing. You don't have to with Catholics. And that's the thing that that Jehovah's Witnesses kind of pride themselves on is we don't ask for 10% of your salary. We don't do all of these things.
If somebody in the congregation has a construction company, when we're building our new congregation, would you like to
support?
And it's one of those things of
but to me, that is what a church is about.
It's supposed to be.
That's it's community, and it's hey, I have this resource, I have this skill.
Yeah.
I donate my time, or at cost. I guess that would be donating your time is hey, this is at cost, and I'll help. So, but that makes sense. That's what you should do. That's the point of community is helping your community out.
Right.
But there's no exchange of money, and we're Scientology, you have to pay.
Right.
And they will call your credit. They somebody said they give you almost a script. This is what you're going to tell your credit card company. And then this is how you get that $10,000 whatever.
Yeah.
And then they immediately take your credit card information and pay for.
This is more like a timeshare. Whereas Jehovah's Witnesses take
and they have
and they manipulate it to their gain. They have their thing of okay, so how can we make the church more like a cult? because that's really what it is. It's just they've
I-
turned
honestly, I don't
Christianity
even-
into an official cult.
Right. And I don't know that it's
Because
I
even all
don't
the
know that it's
guys-
intentionally saying like I don't know this. I'm not in like the rooms of the people, like whatever.
you can spot them. Like it's so
Whoever.
funny. All of the men and all of not the women, not as much, but pretty much all pretty much dress alike in a way.
Yeah, because it's conservative. Like it's not like you try not to be because you need to stand out from worldly people.
Oh, I hated that term. I hated that term. When they mentioned worldly term or worldly people to me, I was just like, fuck you.
Well,
Honestly,
and when you
fuck you,
and, like,
worldly
and
people.
and like regular
Ugh.
society, that term does exist, worldly people, but it's travelers.
And it's that's
it's like it's
complimentary.
good,
It's like you're
right,
saying that-
right. I'm
you're saying
worldly.
that,
I'm
but
experienced.
it was
I
guess it
yeah.
was the intent when they
right,
they were
right,
like,
right.
when they said like with worldly people, and it's like worldly. You mean experienced, traveled people
Yeah,
that
yeah.
go and talk about other things. Like,
Right. So it's so funny that like in that context, it's negative. It has a negative I would say
Connotation?
I would say
Connotation?
condensation.
yeah, condensation. Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
It's got me feeling all
but
wet
like
on the outside.
in mainstream society or however you want to look at it, it's
Yeah.
actually a good thing. Like I would want to be a worldly person because you have different perspectives.
Obviously
like
did,
you've traveled
yeah.
and like you have, you're educated in worldly things.
Right. Well,
But they're trying to be apart from the world. They're saying this
Right.
world is not what it was meant to be. That like God created this to be different, and people have destroyed the world, and we need to get it back to
the
its
worldly
original.
people.
Right.
The worldly people destroyed the world.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like it's like one of those things of like it's
But it's just I
it seems like it's a cross between like Christianity fan fiction and like and a wannabe Scientology
yeah.
cult,
And it's
you know?
just a little bit, just a tad bit more rooted in traditional religion versus Scientology, where it's like this whole
By now. Yeah.
like this whole like crazy thing. Like and yeah, I don't know. It just I think Scientology is a little bit more abusive, but not by much to Jehovah's Witnesses.
And honestly, and it's
because there's
all,
a lot of mental
and essentially, I guess it's all alleged, I guess, right? I mean, or I don't know if anybody was ever, because they have like so much money and so much other stuff. Like,
Scientology.
yeah,
or?
so much.
Oh,
Yeah, so many lawyers and shit that like any claims of that even I don't think
They
that
just-
they're
yeah.
like they're like nah. And it's like it's one of those things of like you have to be like, well, so really the difference essentially on paper it really is no different, but like there's been a lot more alleged. But there's been
Well, it's not alleged. It is like people are like, no, this did happen. They're claiming this never happened.
But there's a thing where that's why you have to say alleged because one person says it doesn't happen, the other person says it does. That's why you have to say alleged. That's what alleged is. As one person is alleging this happened.
Well, but there's multiple people saying that it happened. Like
then multiple people, we have to do this because we're broadcasting on the goddamn internet. And if the goddamn if somehow the Scientology has an algorithm out there, allegedly,
okay, sorry.
we don't have 100 million lawyers and they have all of the ability to take everything. I'm not saying that they're going to hear this, but I don't know their reach.
Yeah.
That's our version of like the spy drama.
Okay.
Is essentially we need to watch out because if they're listening, we want as many people to listen as possible. But if they got a set of ears out there on this and they're like, oh, look at that. Oh, the Georges are sitting up there in the Dobby Robertson Memorial Caddick shooting their mouths off about goddamn abuse. But it's the thing of like you can speak to the fact that for sure Jehovah's Witnesses have a emotional abuse in a way. Like
it's guilt and shame that and a lot of religion is rooted in that, but it is a lot of
but it's like targeted in the Jehovah's Witness thing. They're like saying like you cannot talk to your friends and family.
Yes.
And your friends and family, you will be punished if you talk to this person. Whereas like where I and that was another thing that I was like immediately brought to my attention, like that immediately I was like, holy shit, was like, okay, so when you need your support group the most,
They're gone.
they're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So like when you're at your lowest, they're like,
Well, and that was something like there was one of the stories, a girl was molested from her, because they're in the Scientology thing, if you're like a
what thing are
Sea
you talking
Org,
about?
I'm talking about Scientology.
I know, but what thing are you talking in the Scientology thing? What's the science? What are you talking about?
Like they have schools that the kids go to. So if you're a Sea Org, so not just a normal whatever Scientologist, you're like a Sea Org is like you're dedicated. You sign a 1 billion-year contract, like you're in the Sea Org, and they take your kids away, and you're out on the boat doing whatever. And then the kids are all in the school. So all the kids of the people in the Sea Org. Well, was a teacher in there that was molesting this girl, and she told her mom, and her mom was like, you have issues because you're speaking negatively against another Scientologist.
Very much in
So
the theme
you
of today.
have
Yeah.
you have issues with yourself that you need to figure out. So then she went to another like teacher, and the teacher was like, no, you cannot talk about this. This is bad. Then she had to go through the like do the cans thing and like whatever. But it's just they turn you against like your own family
Yeah.
for the church, where it just, and I just remember that of like, if I said something negative about Jehovah's Witnesses, then they're saying I'm Satan. Satan is using me to pull people away. So you can't listen to me. So now you're going to brand me as a bad person.
So I'm sorry. As you're telling the story about that, like it's so funny that Chloe's just taking a big shit over in the corner in the litter box. She's taking a huge shit over there, and then she did that. One of our favorite. I don't know if it's just our cats. Like maybe it's because of something how we raise them. They have this weird thing that after they take a shit, they're just like
run,
and they're just like Broom! And she's like, so she's over.
She dropped the weight off, and now she's like, okay, gotta, I don't know, run.
Yeah, she just feels like fucking svelte as shit, and she's just like, gah.
Stanley does the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like,
I don't remember Dobby doing it.
Dobby did it too. Yeah, yeah.
I can't,
every single time.
I can't remember.
And like he would just haul ass.
I just want to get out of the litter
but
box.
Like,
they don't like it
because it stunk. They were like, just get the shit out of here. But like as you're saying, like about this, like about the religion thing, I'm just like I look over and she's like, and then she's like, and you're done, and you finish that point. She's like, she just like shoots down the stairs and just look at her. Look how hard she's breathing.
Yeah,
she's pumped.
But I just thought, I just related to that so much of like, you can't even speak your mind in that. Like that's kind of like taking your voice away because you're automatically going to be deemed, well, Satan is using you, manipulating, because they know my daughter, like she's going to listen to her daughter and that's how I'm going to pull her away from Jehovah. Like this is Satan's going to manipulate my daughter to, and then they don't listen to you. And then it's like, you feel alone and you're like, okay, cool. My parents are choosing a religion over me. And that's how it is because they're living. And I think you talked about it of like not living in the moment. They're living for a future that you have no idea.
Yeah.
That's actually gonna, you don't know that this is what's going to happen.
Right. And that's the difference between like faith and that's the point is like, you're putting your faith in, instead of just saying like, well, I'm going
to be a good person.
I know my family is real. And I know that like I raised a good person. I know that I have you're a good person.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a thing of like, why
so you
would
can't
you
even,
choose...
and it's like, it just feels pointless to even, like I've had conversations with my mom and I've been honest with her and I've brought up the fact and I've tried to do it tactfully because I also, the other thing is like, I don't want to bash my mom. Like she believes it. And I understand that there's things, I don't know, but I don't want to make her feel bad and be like, you're a bad person but at the same time, like dropping those little hints of like, this is kind of culty. Like, you know, remember how they handled my sister? They went after her. Like, that's not good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, is you can justify it. Like that's one thing I feel like I hope that you can at least take comfort in from me, is that I'm not just being critical when I talk shit about like the religion or anything like that. But I did the research. I fucking studied.
I understand
went and
that,
fucking
but
looked.
the other thing, like,
And from an outside perspective, is I understand. And I like that you're at least acknowledge the fact that you are more forgiving of a lot of the things that that religion does, or you have been in the past, because of the fact that you were raised in it and a lot of your family is involved in it.
Right.
But it's also like, I had my bullshit meter. It felt like car salesman energy from the moment I would like,
right.
it felt like they were trying to sell me on it. And all the meetings I went to, it felt like they were giving like sales tactics.
Like technically I'm
it felt
third,
like training.
Right. I'm third generation Jehovah's Witness. So it's something that is ingrained from the moment you are like born, because it's the values, it's whatever. Like my mom was raised in it. I guess actually my second generation, because my grandparents weren't raised in it.
Yeah, you would be 1.5 or half generation. Like,
but it's there, it's alive and well. So it's hard for it, and it's a cult, so there is brainwashing. Like it took me years to rewrite, you know, like the narrative or whatever in your head. And it's hard when it's your family and you know your family are good people. So when somebody, an outsider worldly person comes in and they start criticizing that, your walls immediately go up because you're attacking my family.
Right. But the funniest thing is the funniest thing is like, I would say something like that would be critical of the religion.
Mm-hmm.
You would take it personally in the name of your family, but your family would not stand up for you because they would stand up for the religion instead.
Right.
And it's like one of those things of like, okay, so then, yeah, well, like that's what I'm saying is like, nobody's on your side then.
Yeah.
And that's not a fair way to have, that's not a fair outlook. So that's why I would always try to be respectful, but it would be still like, it's hard to do that because it's like when you don't have answers sometimes, or when you just go like, well, you know, hey, that's God's will, or like that was
right.
It was always like the answer is this Bible verse, and it's like, that's not an answer. That's just another
and that's
sentence.
Also open up for interpretation.
Yeah, that's just your interpretation.
Right.
That's not an answer. So
no.
So it's like one of those things of like, if you like philosophy, just fuck with philosophy and just don't bother with the religion.
And I think
just be a good person and trust that you will be accepted by whatever afterlife there is.
I think that religion, or like having the Bible and having that when it was created, was necessary to create a society.
Yeah.
Because it was barbaric. Like you had to like, okay, as we're evolving and as we're getting more intelligent, you need these things. Because when I remember like thinking, when I've never seen the northern sky? No, what is
Northern Lights?
Northern Lights. I've never seen that. I've seen pictures.
Aurora Borealis.
Yeah. But I could imagine, even if you think about like indigenous people and like just seeing different things of like, oh my God, there must be like, you can't explain it when you don't have that knowledge to explain these natural phenomenons that are happening. You have these things to kind of rationalize it in your head.
Right.
So it makes complete sense but we're so far past that, and we know right from wrong. Well, we should, like as a society, we know like this is right, this is wrong. We don't need this.
Right.
And obviously it's okay if people want it. Like it's not a bad thing. Well, it could be a bad thing, but but having like something that you feel like I need more to life. Okay, like I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling now.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is if you that's what I was trying to say earlier was like, if you try to make, if you I feel like either it's not genuine in a lot of cases, and I feel like if you genuinely love the religion, it's not even like that those people are the white belts of it.
Yeah.
of that lower rank, like we were talking earlier,
Yeah.
like people that go to church, but like people that run church, it's when you start like saying you don't get a part in this. And I feel like that's what Jehovah's Witnesses and a lot of other things. That's why it didn't feel like a religion to me. It just felt like a cult that was using religion as like a shield. Like they were saying, we're gonna take the Bible and say that they tied a cult to it, because it's a sense of like.
So what about
like nuns can have a major role in like the Catholic Church, or there can be like.
But there can never be a priest. So there's still limits.
But they have a role, an official role at the church.
But the official role for women with Jehovah's Witnesses is spreading the word.
Yeah, but that's the same as all of the other fucking rookies out there hitting the fucking beat. But when you become an elder, they can never have an elder. They can never have a fucking another. There's no other role. There's no role for a woman in the church.
Yeah.
Except
but
for
there's
a congregant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because all the congregants are also
really a lot.
foot soldiers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so it's that was a thing where I was like, okay, that seems weird. That seems like and
but
like,
I just feel like that's pretty common in a lot of
Jewish people. You can.
Oh, that was the other thing.
Lady
so,
minister or lady.
But what
rabbis,
about the Hasidic Jews? Hasidic Jews. They the women are very below. Would you consider that a cult? Women they have to wear wigs. Because they have to have something like, well, they don't have to wear wigs, but they wear wigs because it's just easier.
But there was a thing with that in Jehovah's Witnesses too. There's a thing where that you tie it to it. Yeah. To me, once you start
they can't hold any
your beliefs are like starting to say like, well, our representation of this is our we're gonna put our life on the line for the hat and the book that we like. You know what I mean? Like you're just picking different size hats and different publications of books.
Yeah,
it's basically the same story. There's a God, there's a heaven, there's a hell.
Yeah, I just feel like in pretty much all religions, men are always the head of the household. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that for me, I think it's interesting that that's what you picked out to be kind of like your red flag of.
That was one of them.
Oh, no, I know. I know. I know it wasn't that, but it's just that's interesting to me because
I saw
from my perspective in most religions, women are always second tier.
Do you want to? Okay, so it's not even the tier. Like, there's no tier for a lady in the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah,
it's not even about like I know that like, but there's like an official. There's ladies that go to church. I don't know if there's like an altar boy version for ladies, but there's usually just little boys that go into.
Yeah, I don't think they have that for little girls.
I don't know if they have a lady version of that, but either way, you can become a nun at some point and you go out and it's celibacy and yada yada yada.
Right.
But you with Jehovah's Witnesses, I was looking at. So this is why that stood out to me, was because there was the issue that your parents weren't going to come to the wedding.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of how dedicated your mom was and how she would give all of that to a religion and then not be like, but it's not giving it back. It would never. So like the
way that they look at it is these are tests.
Yeah, I get that. I'm saying like I get that part out of it, but I'm just saying logically, like it's not even like you'll never get recognition for this. Like if you're wrong, if the chance that you're wrong, you'll never get recognition for this. But let's also say you're right. You'll probably be forgiven for this because of how much you've given to the religion. But because there's no place for her in the religion officially to be rooted as like, I'm an elder, I can make decisions for this congregation. Like there's not even a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking, to me, it's like, so then why are there women in this church? Like you'll never ever, and I'm not saying you're doing it for the recognition, but the church should represent its congregation, and it does not represent its congregation if it doesn't have women as elders.
But the way that you are, it's very like I don't know, like archaic way of thinking of like the household. It's men are the head of the household and the women are the housewife. It's very like,
Yeah,
it's
it's traditional.
that's
It's-
your
yeah.
role in this. Your role
Or
is
or
to,
Rockwell, Norman Rockwell, right?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Americana,
Right. Like it's very
Man in the High Castle,
traditional
much like that.
to that of like the man is the head. He makes the decision. So it would be, they look at the congregation as a family union or
Yeah.
unit. So the
Everybody has a
congregation is the
role. Yeah, yeah.
children, you know, like the people of the congregation. You have the elders who are like the fathers of this congregation. So they make the decisions.
And then the women and children.
And then like, yeah, and then the women and children,
But
you
it's
just kind of live, you live the best life that you can.
And then and then you think about like some of the, just like you said, how your sister was disfellowshipped, and like how that was handled and stuff like
Yeah.
that was a decision made by elders of like of one sense, like,
Well, no, here, and this is the thing that's really fucked up about the whole thing was it was a newly appointed elder.
Right.
That was my sister's best friend's dad. So he felt entitled and like it was his
because
right.
he thought it was a fucking test or some stupid shit like that. I'm sure. Like,
I don't.
like,
he just felt like he knew my sister, and he kind of took like a father, like this is how this is gonna go type of thing, and like hunted her down and found her and was like, okay, now, because my sister was just trying to peace out. She was just trying to like,
you can't
just
quit,
kinda
you're
step
fired.
back.
Right.
And he was like, no, you are gonna pay for your crimes. Like you are going to be disfellowshipped. And then she was, disfellowshipped.
So that, and that's what I'm saying is like, is it's not just, it's not like that it's like a cult. It's just a cult.
Yes.
Light. That's why I always said it's like a free range
cult. Yes.
It's like
No,
saying,
100%.
Like, where you're
100%.
you are given the thought to believe like you're free, but you're still gonna get fucking brought down to fucking size, just like all the rest of these motherfucking cult members.
Yeah.
Once you're useless to us, or once you're not touting our bullshit, we're gonna fucking end you. Do you understand? And we're gonna take everything that you've had out. And like, and that's the thing. But you're not even doing it with like,
and you know, the reason why
responsible, you're not, that's the part that fucking bothered me the most, was the fact that there was elders that were making decisions for God. Like there was no element of like, well, God's going to handle this, or it's God's will, or whatever. Like with Catholics, you sin, you can ask for forgiveness, or you can live with it, but you can still come to church. You can do bad stuff, but you're not like, I have not heard of this necessarily, like in the modern times of like doing this thing, aside from cults. Cults are the ones that are like, okay, you've been brought up in this, you've been brought up this. Well, you're not useful to us, or you are not touting our beliefs anymore, or like you're an enemy. And now we will take everything, your support system, your family, your home, your possessions, everything. Cause it was all part of the cult. But now you don't get this. So now you're out. And it's like, but you're not even doing it with.
It's a deterrent to try to get people not to do it. Like
you have no like power here. You have no power. It's God's fucking will, stupid. So you're saying like, okay, well, God wouldn't want you to be with us. But the
Bible is God's will, and those are the words that you live by. Like, so they take that together, and interpret it, and however, like this, like,
and then they make up.
I think the disfellowshipping comes from the story of the prodigal son. Like they had to let him go. He was. I don't remember. I just remember I was always compared to the prodigal son. That was always like
the prodigal daughter.
I'm the prodigal daughter because I would leave and then come back.
Prodigal
and
daughter.
they would.
Did you kill my prodigal daughter?
I can't remember what it. Oh, the prodigal son was like considered to be held in higher regard than people that just stuck with the religion because they had to face trials and tribulations. Like, so they're stronger, more like their faith is stronger because they left and realized it wasn't what you thought it was going to be or whatever. And then you come back.
Yeah.
So like you're held at like almost a higher regard.
Yeah. And now,
you're never fully like accepted because
you never reach a
you're
never reach
like-
the thing. You're Sisyphus. You're always pushing the boulder up the hill because you're like
yeah,
because you're always trying because
you're tainted, you're dirty, like you're not clean because you left and then you came back, and it's like some people are like, oh yeah, we're so glad you're back,
right.
But I'm not fully going to accept you because I can't really trust you because you did walk away and you may be a bad influence.
But this is the thing is they're manipulating your faith for their gain, and
but
that's the problem.
What's the gain with the Jehovah's Witnesses?
Power.
Because with
you have
Scientology,
power over
it's
all
money.
These people's families. You can tell this person, you're not allowed to talk to your own daughter until we say it's okay. It's that fucking power because they don't have it everywhere else. Because, and this is not in all cases, but this is in a lot of cases, a through line that I notice is there's a lot of, I think, closeted people and a lot of people that are
it's broken people.
They're broken people that
for you to be into this, you're broken people
that want to feel, and this is not, and again, I cannot stress this enough because there are Jehovah's Witnesses that, believe it or not, that I do not want to offend. And I wanted to say, like, just because you've believed in it or you have participated in it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a bad person.
I know,
but it's
good people.
But a person that wants to feel like accomplished, that wants a legacy, that wants some kind of, and that's the thing is the elders. If you think about that guy that you talked about earlier, I have no problem offending that guy.
Yeah,
that guy's a piece of fucking shit.
That won't
accomplish fucking anything for real outside of that fucking church. So to him, it has to be true. And that's the thing of like, that's him saying like, you can't fucking, I'm a fucking elder. Okay. And you can't just fucking walk away. You're fucking out of here. And you're not allowed to talk. You know what I mean?
You're saying I quit and you're like, no, you're fired.
No. You're fired. And guess what? And I'm not, that's how
and we're going to prosecute you.
Yeah. And we're going to prosecute you and we're going to go after you. And that's cult shit. If you think otherwise, if you think that's fucking Christian, dude, and that's where I don't care if I'm offending any of you. If you think that's Christian, fucking, you're dumb as shit. Yet you are oblivious in that sense. In that realm, you are fucking oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you do bad things. It just means that you are part of a hateful organization that is using religion and faith for their personal gain, and it's their status.
And so it's just right. Is it just righteousness? Because literally you're not
gaining
even
anything.
As an elder, you don't get paid.
No,
there is no money.
It's power. You get the power. You're an elder. I make the I say how many chairs are gonna be in here. I say where we have a picnic. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird. It's and you get to say over all the other fucking dorky dads, I might decide that, or I'm the boss. You're the alpha. It's literally all that is, and that is cult shit. Is that shit of like, I fuck all the harems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all but that. You know what I mean? It's meant to like. Why do you even have that title if there really is no thing? Why can't you make decisions as a congregation? Why can't you vote? Why can't you have one? You don't want one person, but why is 4 people okay? And it's one of those things of 4, fucking old white dudes. Usually I think there was one black guy in our case. I think there was one old black guy that was an elder. Right.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, all old white, like dads or stepdads.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean? Like
there's a couple of young people,
and then you think about like, and then you look
didn't.
at like their jobs and shit, and you're like, so like you're somebody who we respect their, you know what I mean? Like it's not, it's weird because I think they have a weird like inadequacy. So if they're good at something, they feel accomplished and they have that legacy, that elderness, that I'm respected somewhere.
Yeah.
You're in the history book somewhere as an official elder of this as long as this congregation exists, there's record of you being a person who's made terrible decisions because you're doing it in the name of, like I said, they're one of the only religions that I know of that have like changed rules so much And I'm like, I think that's just because like they're like, oh, we need to. That like Scientology was another one that was like, oh, we need to get lawyers.
They
We need to
would,
do
and
things like,
unlike what, yeah, with Scientology, they like there's new books coming out, but L. Ron Hubbard's been dead for how long?
yeah,
And
they're
like
like,
now,
oh, this is, yeah.
oh, and then they would make you, so they would say like, oh, you know, here's a whole new series that you have to pay for, and that series is $15,000.
And how else
but
do
you
you do
have
that?
to do that to get to the next level.
And how else do you do that in a Christian version of this? By saying, oh, we've reread them and we reinterpret it as, oh,
Yeah.
you shouldn't smoke now.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, I think what happened was one of the high up elders was like,
But
I quit smoking, and if I see any of
that's
you
possible.
motherfuckers smoking,
That
I'm
is
gonna lose my
possible.
fucking mind.
But with this, I have to say, and which is interesting because it's kind of like the science aspect of it, where you read the scripture of you can't do harmful things to your body,
But
or-
you're still allowed to drink.
not in excess. You can have a drink.
Let me
And
guess.
drinking
Let me
isn't
tell you
bad
what
for
a
you, but
couple of
in
those elders smelled
excess,
like. A couple of those elders smelled like in excess. I'll tell you what.
right. Well, no one's perfect.
One of four, you know, you're
Right.
still gonna say, hey, maybe
But
switch them out for a lady.
as when people did smoke and they would have doctors, I was watching a show and it was a OBGYN back in like, I don't know, the 20s, and he's like in the girl's cooter smoking a cigarette, like,
Looks good.
yeah. So that the knowledge was actually cigarettes are harmful for you. And then they said, okay, this is an
Didn't
update.
they change it in like the 80s though?
I don't know when they changed
It was,
it.
but either
But
way,
it was
like,
the same. I think it was the same thing. There was a couple of things like that. That makes that type of change makes sense to me. Because as a society, like as the world,
but
we've got this knowledge that this is now actually harmful for you.
but now
So you shouldn't do it.
but now you've given the precedent, if I may,
Mhm.
that you are health conscious. So wouldn't you also say, if I see you eating a fast food burger, if I see
Gluttony,
you-
no, that I've heard a talk on that of gluttony is a sin. So being overweight and obese, that's sinful
It
because
has-
you're
has
eating in
such-
excess.
it has such strong, like like what is it? Not capability. What's the fucking word? Potential. It has so much potential for being a cool arm of Christianity.
Mhm.
If it wasn't for all the cult
Mhm.
shit, because the discussions on this shit, I like squirting a big slab of fucking philosophy in religion and talking about your rules and trying to reassess your
Yeah.
like, that's the shit I get into. I will talk religion all, like, I had a great talk with Kenny on here. He called the number 717-559-2971, and he called and we talked, and he's somebody who is a reverend.
Yeah.
He speaks fucking religion out of his fucking mouth. His mouth shoots religion into people's ears.
Yep.
People go to him for their religion. And like, and I talk to him, and I talk to him at Mike's. I see him around and shit like that. Like, Kenny Robinson is somebody I trust teaching religion. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not saying there should not be Jehovah's Witnesses, but I'm saying
Right.
it needs to be restructured like ASAP. I'm not
Yeah.
saying you shouldn't. The Scientology thing, if you want to believe, it's, to me, I've said it
Well,
since
and that's the
day
thing
one.
with-
I've said it since day fucking one. Scientology, for you, as if you're like, I'm a Christian and you're like, Scientology, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
what? How? Who the fuck are you saying? All of
It
your
is-
shit's made up too, maybe. Who
Right.
knows?
But and that's the thing with Jehovah's Witnesses that I've never
We're back.
felt.
The CDC's opening up. I'm spitting all over the mic.
I always felt was I liked the concept of it, of there isn't a heaven and hell, that there is a heaven, but it's for 144,000 anointed.
I like that one. Yeah, that was weird.
That's
the
it.
Kirk Cameron stuff, I think. I think he's into that.
And then there's no hell because God is a loving God. So
Who
why would
doesn't
he
love that?
torture you?
Who doesn't love that?
When you
so
die-
far, on board.
Right. When you die, you just you
don't
you
die.
don't
You just go night night.
you sleep.
You
Like
go night-night.
you don't know nothing. You're not anywhere. Your spirit doesn't go anywhere.
Basically,
You're
a
just
coma.
dead. Yeah.
Basically, a coma with no bill.
And then when Armageddon comes and the world is
Because
destroyed,
it's coming.
It's coming.
And they've predicted
Then
it
all
multiple
the people,
times.
so when you die, that's like the ultimate like payment of sin.
Mhm.
So no matter if you were Jehovah's Witness, weren't a Jehovah's Witness, you were a serial killer, whatever, you are resurrected
You wake back up.
after. So like the people, so Armageddon comes, and then whoever survives that. So they're saying Jehovah's Witnesses.
So what? I wonder what. Okay, so what happened? Do we know what happens to the people? So, the rapture is that the first thing that they go to heaven? The 4,400 go to heaven.
Yes, they take the
And then
whoever is alive, and
we're just on regular Earth, and then Earth becomes Armageddon stuff. Then Armageddon happens, and they're saying like so. So is that like a loophole that God is that like
So what
God's
I thought-
natural flavors?
I think it's like leftovers.
Oh, they just go.
I think
And they're
they're
just
just gone. Like the people that
And then the hell on earth, the Armageddon, is all of the trauma and shit that happens after.
this is well, I honestly I
could
think
buy that.
they're saying this is Armageddon. Like
now?
Armageddon isn't a asteroid coming and gonna blow up. It's not like that. It's just
close my
things
eyes.
things progressively get worse and worse. So they're saying like it turns into like there's no religion is banned. You can't have religion. Like it just right. Like things just progressively get worse and worse and worse.
That's all. I just want it to be a little hard to find.
And this is how I kind of pictured it in my mind when they would talk about it, is the people on earth that aren't good. I don't know how, like worldly people would then just disappear. Like they're not tortured. They're not whatever. So then the people that are left on the earth after that, let's say leftover situation where they vanish, they then clean the earth. So then they make I don't know. Like
we
rebuild essentially.
All right.
And then
God
after that rebuild, then they resurrect the dead.
The 4,400?
No, just whoever died, they
So
resurrect. The 144,000 are essentially angels, and they just hang. They're
never coming back.
They're never coming back.
They're always up.
When they die, they go to heaven.
In real life heaven, VIP section.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess
So
heaven is
in that. So heaven does exist, but there's not a hell. So like in that, I'm like that.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
That seems like well, no, like just that whole situation seems a lot better than if you sin, you're going to hell and you're going to be tortured for eternity. Like that's not, I don't want that. I don't want to believe in that. So to have the idea of this is how it was supposed to be, we're going to go back to like how it was supposed to be before Eve ate the apple that she wasn't supposed to eat. I don't know, just it seems better. It's more wholehearted. I don't know. So yeah, I suck at this by myself, but I just felt it seemed more believable, and it was something that you'd kind of want to believe. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it seems kind, but then all the extra added culty stuff to it is what's really like just throws everything else out the window. Which is why I do not partake at all. And I don't think, there are so many good people in the world, and to just because they don't believe in what you believe in, you automatically deem them as bad and deem them as somebody that you cannot associate with, because they're going to make you do bad things.
Yeah.
Or not make you, but influence you. And that always just struck a chord with me, where I'm just like, I can't really get into this, because I know a lot of good people that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses. I know a lot of good people that are Jehovah's Witnesses.
We were just talking about Gio. Gio's somebody that you worked with back in Florida that we were like, is like, man, he was a great person. But like in the eyes of Jehovah's Witnesses, it's like,
yeah,
Casey
he's Catholic.
pounds off here. She says it makes it less credible. I don't know if she's talking about like when, I guess that maybe when like you're saying, I know this person's good, and you're telling me they're bad, like they're a bad person because of the mere fact
Right.
that
Yeah.
they're
Because
not.
you're, then you, that's when you start to lose faith
Right.
of like, you've been telling me this all along. And
Yeah.
I think that was the thing too of with Scientologists, that somebody was talking about of like, oh, wait, this person's really nice. You said that these people were awful.
These were
or
the enemies.
These are the enemies. And then when you do kind of toe the line and you step out that line and you start to see this world, and then you go, wait, this world isn't bad.
Yeah.
You've been lying to me this whole time.
Right. You can't say, and that's the problem with, and I think that's kind of what happened with with your sister or something like that. Like that was a situation where she was somebody who was kind of brought up like all the way
Yeah.
in it.
She was way more in it than I was.
Yeah, whereas you were kind of like, even your mom was kind of in and out of it. You were kind of in and out of it because of that.
Yeah.
Because of like, so.
And she was with my mom more, where I had her dad, my sister's dad wasn't really involved in her upbringing, but my dad was. So I saw my dad half of the week, and my dad was not a Jehovah's Witness. And then whereas my sister, my mom had sole custody of my sister. So it was more, she didn't have somebody else giving her a different perspective.
Right.
I had my dad that would bash that whole side of the family, which that didn't help, because then it just made me feel like they were nice to me. They were good people.
Kind of discredits your dad. It's the same thing.
Right.
And that's the point of it. Like, that's what I think I brought this up with advertising with you a lot. Like if you're trying to say that the other person is bad, I feel like it's summed up easily with like the term thou protest too much kind of thing. Like you're saying so much bad stuff about this unprompted.
Yeah.
That it's like I don't know if I can buy what you're selling, because you're saying that it's the same thing. Like you're like, I know my mom's actually a good person. Like, so I don't know if I buy
right.
this.
So you're saying exactly. So I know my mom is a good person. She treats me well. I feel comfortable with her. I can be vulnerable with her. I can't with you. And you're sitting here bashing her, saying that it's a cult, that my family is like that whole side of the family, every single one of them is terrible. But I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen you
I don't believe you. Yeah. I've seen you be
terrible. So everything you're telling me, I am now taking as a lie.
Right.
When actually there is truth to what he's saying.
And that's the thing, is like, that's unfortunate, because Casey brings up a great point. She's pounding off here in the chat. She says lying, exaggeration, isn't a great way to establish faith. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Or it's the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
But that's it, because that's the thing of like, once you start discrediting, I think that might have been, I don't know if that was the final straw, or if that was just like the last thing of like me going like, man, like now you're actually like straight up like criticizing other religions. We were at I think you were there. I think you were at the meeting too.
Yeah.
And it was when like some fucking dipshit fucking brother or sister, whoever the fuck it was, said something about going to a Catholic mass or a Catholic funeral.
Yeah.
And then being like, I found no comfort in it. Like they was like criticizing how they were mourning. And it's like, fuck you. Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, why can't you just have your thing and just have your thing? You spread the word. Cool. Go out and talk and hand out shit on the street corner. Why do you have to go door to door? Why do you have to go door to door? Why can't you just fucking open up a kiosk? Be like Scientology. Stop fucking hiding it.
Because that's like
that's their thing.
That's their dues. That's their tithing. Like you have to go above and beyond. And that was the other thing that Scientology that I kind of linked was it is everything. It is everything that you do all day long is about Scientology.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses is you have multiple meetings. Like with Scientology, it was like you had to do something every single day, like you went to the center or whatever. Yeah. With Jehovah's Witnesses, you had to go to meetings 3 times a week. So you had Bible study on Tuesday, Thursday was the theocratic school. So they like essentially taught you how to do door to door. And then Sunday is like the big day that it's you read the Watchtower,
day,
there's a
baby.
talk, like it's more of like lecture kind of a thing. So that's 3 times a week. Plus you need to go out and do door to door, and you have to log those hours, and you say, okay, did this many hours. And then you have pioneers, and that can be male or female. It could be kids too. And you have to do so many. So you have to do like, I don't know the numbers, but let's say you have to do 40 hours a week. And that is, okay, now that's a full-time, that's a job. And there was a lot of people that had jobs and did pioneering, and they were held to such high regard because they're so dedicated that they spend all of this time doing it.
And then at the end of it, what do you get? Nothing.
Nothing.
Same thing the other fucking dickheads get that didn't.
But they think this is the work that they have to do, and like you have to
be one of the 4,400
No,
or 1,400 or whatever the fuck it is.
To live through Armageddon, to be in the paradise. They call it paradise.
But I thought the people even that
no, it is you without a doubt would know if you were one of the anointed.
I am.
It's I
know it. If you say say it that way, then yeah, I already know it. Perfect. Great. Awesome. I feel great.
Well, you would be
Sorry for
as
you, dude.
close. So what it is you're as close to a perfect person. And I know you think
Keep
that.
saying it. Might as well just say,
that is not
Pat,
true.
Pat George.
No.
Heard of him?
No.
Very strong, very decay resistant teeth.
Majority of the people, they don't want to go to heaven. Like they're not like it's not
bad Christians.
Yeah.
There you go.
They want to live on earth. Like the humans were made to inherit the earth. Yeah. Like, and that's where you want to be. And then there's these 144,000 that
the anointed
that they lead. So like there's last one, I mean, I was in it a long time ago, and there were only 2 people in the world that were anointed.
Oh, so there's like, you get it. Who says that?
Well, it's not, I don't like, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, it's not, it's something within them that they would know. And they do the, what is it called? It's not, it's like Easter, but it's around the same time.
Passover.
It's essentially the same thing, but it's not that.
The festival or it's like something, the rising, gathering of the juggalos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. But they pass around wine and whatever kind of cracker, and if you're one of the anointed, you take a sip of the wine and you take the cracker. So once a year they have the
their wine and cracker budget was super low.
So they pass it around. So you pass it around it's not, but it is.
Turnover.
No. And then if you you don't eat it or drink it unless you're the anointed.
Okay.
And you just I can't explain it. I don't know.
Because you're not anointed.
From my perspective,
and it will never be is there ever a lady anointed?
No.
So then fuck it, man. What are you doing it for? Like that was always my thing. It's like
that's just the structure of the dynamic of it is women are below men. Like that is how it is with this religion. Is men are superior. They wouldn't flat out say that, but the way that it's structured, yeah. Like your actions speak way. Because if I were to say a prayer, and you were here, and you're like, actually, no, even if I'm a white belt, you're blue belt. Even if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, I would have to put something on my head.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Say the prayer.
Yeah, because God forbid I see the top of your head.
Yeah.
No, it's because if God sees the top of your head.
I can't remember the reasoning behind
God's
it.
like, that's not your husband. Why don't you have something on top of your head?
Even if you are my husband.
God damn, man. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
It's such a weird like mix between like super strict and super loose base.
Yeah, it is weird.
That like pick a lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, if like I said, if it didn't have all the culty aspects of it, it actually their beliefs aren't bad.
Yeah.
Like it's for me, it's
right. Yeah.
Minus the structure of what, you know,
minus the details. Honestly, the details that they get
right.
into
Like
it,
if you just look like,
the
hey,
broad strokes of it,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's pretty
here's
good.
the basis of what we believe.
And this is no connection, and I'm not at all advocating Nazis at all, but it's kind of like it's the same idea with the Nazi thing, where they're like, hey, why don't we do everything this way? But it's also then you're like, then you get into the details, and they're like, also we're the superior race, and it's like, and they're like, we should kill all the people that are sick and or like mentally ill, and you're like, nah, I'm not into that, and you're like, and they're like, also no religion, and I'm like, look, I like the idea of that, but some people like it.
But I guess
You
it's
should
really,
let them have religion.
I never thought of it. Like when you look at most wars, it is usually based in religion, but I guess it's belief because but Nazis, that's still a belief that there's a superior
that's
race.
They're just replace. It's
Yeah,
again,
I guess
it's
that's
just
true.
Nationalism, religious.
But I never thought of it of like, yeah, that's not with that specifically. It's not really a religious thing, but it is an ideology, which is religion is an ideology.
Yeah,
So I guess it is still the same thing.
But it's being respectful, doing all those other things and all this stuff. But it's also like then also doing the exact opposite of those things, like in the next step. And you're like, oh, so yeah, you're hypocrite. It's immediately hypocritical.
Yeah.
So it's automatically flawed. It's not perfect. It's you know what I mean? So,
but it's harmful. That's the thing is like
when it becomes harmful is
right.
when you're like, oh, we need to stop those people from doing that thing because of our thing. Yeah. Then you're like, that's where you're wrong.
And it's harmful to families. Like you're breaking apart families.
Yeah.
For no reason. And especially when you have this person, it's like,
right.
If they're not following the path,
right.
Something's wrong.
God's probably not
like,
testing you. God's probably not testing a ton of people in fucking St. Petersburg, Florida. Do you know what I mean? Like he's probably not occupying a ton of his time with like your day to day, to be completely honest with you. I'm not saying that God doesn't love you or care for you. I'm just saying like, it's probably not like it's not the most anguishing thing that ever, like, it's not like, oh yeah, I've thought about it and this is a test specifically for you. Chloe, we got like 8 minutes left. Can we just do it 8 more minutes?
She's like, you were supposed to be done so long ago.
Yeah, well, we were supposed to start a lot tongue tied. What is this with the butt in the air? She wants to rub it. Oh, she wants all the hair off of her.
Yeah. She wants a brush.
It's shedding. Yeah, she's shedding. So I'm trying to keep my water over here.
Yeah.
But I think this was a good talk. I think we did a good talk, Chloe. Good talk. Yeah, look at that. Oh, baby. Look.
Also, I know we only have one person watching. I don't know if it's Casey, but I do have a update from the last show I was on. My parents did not. Okay, well, first I have to say my mom has no recollection. She said, I'm not saying that you're lying. I just do not remember doing that. And she was like, she said that she's noticing that a lot as the siblings. As the siblings, I'm just gonna hold on to it.
She's telling the story, okay?
As
you like it or
us,
not.
as my family, as we've gotten older, and when we get together and we start talking, like, remember when you did that, and whatever. And my mom's like, I'm finding that I'm not remembering a lot. She's like, I feel like I might have blocked a lot of this out. And I was like, that makes sense. But so I talked to her and my dad, and I was talking about the story, and they were like, if you say we did that, we did that. And my dad was like, I would have never taken something I didn't know what it was. And I was like, okay, good, because Pat and I are both saying
how stupid
that was. And he was like, I probably did lick it. He was like, that probably did happen.
I would definitely lick something I didn't know what it was.
He was like, I could see, because I was like, you either licked it or you ingested it. And he was like, I might have licked it. He's like, I definitely did not ingest it. So they don't remember it. But they said they wouldn't have. It did 100% happen.
Yeah.
I know that it happened.
Yeah.
Because they confessed to it. Like, that's something you remember. You know what I mean? Like, if your mom, if
you're
you
gonna
come
remember
home,
that win. That's
yeah, exactly. It was a win.
Yeah.
If you come home from wherever, I don't know if I was at school or came home from work,
No.
and then your mom comes to you and apologizes.
And admits wrong.
Wrongdoing, you remember that.
Yeah. Because you probably also had your favorite dinner that night too. Something along the lines of like, oh, sorry, I'll make you. I don't know if you had anything, but that's so that brings me to I talked about this a little bit earlier. in the show. This has been a great talk. And this is the thing. It's always great. Conversation. This is what I said last night. And this is the key to the GDP. Conversations are better with two people or
Yes.
more.
Well, that's how conversations go.
That's a conversation. Because otherwise, a conversation, if it's just me talking here, that's where I feel, not that I'm wasting my time or anybody else's time, is I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
So we did the fan vote. I updated everybody. It was Wednesdays and Fridays is what the majority rule. It was really
Okay.
tight, actually, considering all three things were. It came down to literally one vote.
Yeah.
So Wednesdays and Fridays was the thing to go live. But I think what I think what I'm going to do is we're going to record when available, when you are available to
Okay.
record, and we'll still go live. And I think even today's proven it doesn't matter what time it is. People still are available. We've had multiple viewers come in and out through
Well,
the
and like you
stream.
said, like this has
The
really
schedule is just not possible right now because of and it's
Because
it's
things
for
are-
a good thing.
right. Things are opening up. You're getting more on your plate. So this did its
I
job
just didn't want it
for
to
the
end.
time
Yeah.
that like you needed it.
Right.
And now things are shifting. GDP is not going anywhere. It's just it'll just look a little different in the way that it's brought up, because we already, like, the best thing was the Instagram, but that's not really, it's not a reliable thing, and you need consistency and you need to be reliable. That's not something you can rely on.
Right.
So we had to pivot. So pivot. We're watching that too. The Friends reunion.
That's her first
Yeah.
decree as my media mentor. Is she said that we are watching tonight.
Well, what I've been trying to do. So when you gave me that, like I said on the last show, I was like a little nervous, but I'm going to use my
platform.
Like what I see. And I'm like, oh, a lot of people are talking about this. All right, this is what we're going to watch, because
Okay.
this is what's,
All right.
so a lot of people are talking about it. It's something I was going to watch without you yesterday, because I was like, I don't think he'll care. And then I'm like, no, we're going to wait.
Exactly. That's
He's gonna
exactly what
watch
it was meant
this.
for. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's we had to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying that
Oh yeah. So so we have to pivot, and
from Instagram, where we have to be more consistent. We want to
Mhm.
make sure. And
so now it's going to change again, because you have
we know at least one day in the week, one day during the week, at least minimum. That's the thing, is like the beauty of this is like, I was like, so the Wednesday and Friday thing was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. But then I was like, why? I don't like the rigid, like what I'm
Yes and
finding.
no,
What
but
I'm
you
finding the most
need-
success with lately
Uh-huh.
is off the cuff more preparing, have a loose frame,
Yes.
and having freedom in that
Yes.
realm.
Yep.
In that I'm using that word a lot today. Pat pointed it out earlier today. I said realm earlier, and I was just like, that's my word of the day today. That's the word of the day. I don't give a shit about anything else. Realm is right here in my head, right at the front of my mind. But that's where I want it to be, is that loose frame to say we have the freedom, because GDP has changed. It's been like 5 years, or like, I think coming up on 5 years or 4 years that I've been doing this consistently.
Yeah, I would say 5.
I've been doing the Gross Domesticated podcast.
Yeah, because you started it shortly after we moved here.
Right. It was an interview show at first. Then it was like, well, maybe I'll try it by myself. Like, then GDPLive coming through the pandemic and the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, with hacks, with comedy opening back up, I want to get more consistent with that and really focus on that again. Now that everything,
because that's your true, like that's what you want to do, and then this is something that you also enjoy doing,
right? And so then I was like, well, if I'm going to keep it, if I'm going to say Wednesdays and Friday, like, no, it's whenever we're able to do it, and whenever but at minimum once a week, if not more, we will be going live to record a podcast. It's still the voicemails. You still have the call in you can do. You can zoom in. We're still gonna have guests. Like everything is the exact same, but it's just not gonna have as much of a rigid thing, because I also want to start playing around with times. I don't know if 11 to 1 is best for everybody, and that's the thing, is I had this. I stuck with it for, months. It's been months that I've been doing this.
It's been a long time, yeah.
So I'm gonna ramp back a little bit, and it's gonna be a little bit more freeform. So please follow Baby Mermaid Productions on Instagram to get notifications of when we're gonna be going live. Follow me friend me, Pat George, on Facebook, and or follow the Gross Domesticated Podcast page on Facebook. That's where we're going to show you when we're going live. You can join in. You can pound off on the comments. You can call in 717-559-2971. You can text that number. You can do anything. You can email babymermaidproductions@gmail.com. All those things are available, but it's a conversation is always better with two people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or more.
And especially like you were able to have a conversation a little bit easier with the Instagram because you had,
they're talking,
had
they're
that
pounding, but you know what I mean? Like
but this for YouTube is just not as accessible as Facebook and Instagram. So it makes that difficult to do by yourself. So you really need to have a second.
I've noticed even premium Ron, like Ron Barindro. He's somebody that like Big Preems is not always available because he's working at that time.
I always thought 11 to 1 was a strange time.
It's a weird thing. I was thinking radio. I was thinking radio. Yeah.
But radio, but
evenings.
but radio, I mean, that's true too. Radio.
Maybe that's why.
My idea would be early. Like you got to do 6 a.m. That's prime time because people are driving to work, getting ready for work. They, throw on the radio.
That's if I was on the radio. I think if and again, that would happen if I could do the Instagram thing and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But that's just not, as of right now, YouTube is the focus. That's where I want all eyes to, and again, if you were watching this, thank you so much. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit the notification thing. You can share this episode. The audio only versions are available on Spotify, Instagram, your Googles, all of your weirdo sub podcasts as well. And and honestly, I think that's the main focus that I like right now is the video's great. I like the live element is great, but like, that's not my focus. My focus is the podcast, comedy, and just the production stuff that I've been doing, like hacks, jujitsu, martial arts, stuff like that. Like that, I want to make sure that I keep everything balanced.
Yeah.
So with everything shifting, Chloe's trying to brush herself.
Oh, look at her. She's so cute.
All right. Well,
we gotta go. We gotta brush this baby.
We gotta brush this baby. She's in desperate need of brushing. We love you guys. Thanks so much. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.